Welcome to this week's episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in as little as 15 minutes to build your dream business. And now here's your host, the Visibility Wiz, Cindy J.
Hi, I'm Cindy J, the Visibility Wiz, and welcome to this episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts are going to share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in 15 minutes or less. Today, our guest is Michelle Shaeffer. She is the creator of Lingo Dynamics in the Hookline Dynamic app. She's passionate about helping mission-driven entrepreneurs build successful, profitable businesses that make positive difference in the world. She's written 42 blog posts in one single day. She's mentored more than 15,000 bloggers through the Ultimate Blog Challenge and Extreme Traffic Adventure. She's published 1,000 plus posts on her own blogs and has been blogging since 2008. She's made just about every blogging mistake possible and shares them so that you don't have to. Welcome, Michelle. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate the opportunity.
To begin with, could you share with our community a personal or business challenge that you had to overcome to achieve your level of success?
Oh, sure. Let's see. So I think one of the challenges that is kind of both personal and business was learning to get people's attention. You know, there's so many people in business who, you can solve problems, you've got a great product, but if you don't know how to actually get people's attention and get them interested in what you do, you can't sell it. And so for me, even online, learning what do you say that gets people's attention? What do you write about? What content do you put out there was something that I had to figure out. How do I put it out there in a way that actually makes people want to click? Because especially for those of us who I'm not naturally the most exciting person. I'm usually very calm. I'm very quiet. I'm introverted. So learning to put enough excitement into my headlines, my social media, into things so that it made people want to click through and check it out was definitely a challenge for me. And learning to overcome that has really been key in getting my blog to work and everything else in my business.
Right. Getting the attention. It's always, it's typically a struggle for most entrepreneurs, really. So thank you for sharing that with us.
That is.
And Michelle, how did you get started as an entrepreneur and what got you to where you're at now?
Great question. So I guess it would depend on which variation of my business we're talking about. Even as a kid, I was one of those who was always looking for opportunities. And I did a lot of different things over the years, from teaching piano lessons to tutoring. And then, as a grown-up business owner, I started out doing website design and development. And it was really something that I needed a way to make an income from home at the time. I had a baby and, it was one of those, okay, let's figure out what can I do from home. And I saw a need for people to build websites, design them, and I knew how to do that. So it was just kind of what can I do online to make some money is how I started my business. And then over the years, it's become more intentional. Well, okay, what am I actually good at? What do I actually want to do? What can I actually help people with? And so it's evolved a lot since 2000 when I started my business online. What got me to where I am right now was really over the years working with different clients and realizing what they really needed and what I could really do that I was good at. So going beyond just what can I do to what can I deliver results at and have fun doing. So it's evolved a lot over the last 18 years.
Fun is such a key word. What you said, what can I have fun doing? Because so many people, they believe that they're going to do one thing and it's not so much fun. Then they just get tied down to this horrible business that they hate. And you can't grow a business that you hate.
A lot of people
and love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true not just of your business, but of your marketing as well. Too many of us end up trapped in a business model that doesn't work for us because business isn't cookie cutter. You can't look at somebody else and go, okay, their business is structured exactly like this. I'll have that exact same. It doesn't work. You should model what works, but you have to do it in a way that works for you. Right. And the same is true of marketing. I think I have had some discussions about this. People think, well, I see this working for this person, so I'm going to go do this. And they hate it. They don't like video. They don't like podcasts. They don't like Twitter, whatever it is. Right. And so it doesn't work for them. So
Yeah,
it
it's
really
interesting.
is what you enjoy doing matters.
Right. Somebody asked me the other day, said, I know I have to be on Facebook, but I really don't like Facebook. And I'm like, who says you have to be on Facebook? If you don't like it, don't be there because it's not going to work for you.
There's that. First of all, running things through a filter of, is your audience there? Will the method work for you? And do you really want to do it? Because there's so many different ways you can succeed with your marketing. Pick the things you like, figure those out. At some point, you'll probably circle back to some of those things you didn't want to do, and you'll have a different perspective on it. But there's nothing wrong with acknowledging what you like, what types of marketing you're good at naturally, so you can leverage that.
Yes, completely agree. And earlier, whenever you were saying one of your challenges was knowing how to market and what words to use. And I know, Michelle, that you got interested in studying psychology, the psychology and science of how words make people feel, which is such an important part of being seen online. So how did you get into the word part of it, and how did that lead you to creating the lingo dynamics?
Okay, so sure. So first, for anybody who isn't familiar with that, lingo dynamics is a way to measure the emotion in words, so positive or negative, the excitement and the empowerment that a word has. It's based on a database of over 30,000 words that were ranked by over 1,000 people in all these different vectors. So you can put a word into the system and see, is this word exciting? Is it empowering? Is it positive or negative? And how strongly is it positive or negative? So it gives you a way to quantify how the words feel. And one of the reasons that I ended up really looking into that is, as you dive into marketing and start to figure out how are people reacting to what you share, you realize there's this intangible thing. And the way that, I guess the main experience that really hit home for me was, I was on a call one time. It was one of those free strategy session offers that a coach had put out there. And I got on and we started talking about my goals in business and some different things. And when she made her offer, it wasn't a good fit for where I was at. And I let her know that. And in very aggressive fashion, she really pushed and told me that if I didn't say yes right then to her offer, if I didn't go to my purse, get out my credit card and pay her, I was never going to succeed in business. I would never build a successful business because I wasn't decisive and I wasn't willing to take action. And at that time, it shut me down. I spiraled, and I actually thought about closing my business entirely, because what if she was right? And it was really hard for me to figure out, okay, what do I do now? And a couple of years later, I got brave enough to actually reach out to another coach, because I realized I did want to work with someone. It just needed to be the right fit. And when I had a conversation, it was completely different. And she pushed and she sold me. She was not a soft seller, but it was from a different perspective. And it made me feel entirely different when I got off the call with her. I had invested far more than I had planned to, but I felt good about it. I was actually excited about it. And that made me realize there was something more than just following the pattern. It really was about the specific words that they were using. And I went, okay, this I want to understand, because I never want somebody to feel that way, to feel crushed by a call with me because I made an offer. I want them to feel empowered. Whether they say yes or no, they should walk away feeling good about their potential in business, not feeling like they're never ever going to succeed. And so that kind of led me down, okay, what is it? How do I measure this? How do I figure out what words feel what way? And I realized that as a blogger, one of the things that we kind of naturally learn to do is in our headlines to use those words that are exciting, that grab people's attention, that are empowering. And it's really fascinating once you start to see those patterns and start to figure out what words will really work. One of the examples I give people is, I could write a blog post that's how to write a blog post in 10 minutes, or how to write a great headline for your blog post. But if I stop and look at those words and I start swapping things out, so instead of how to write a great headline for your next blog post, I say how to create an attention-grabbing headline. That sounds like something more people are going to click, right? They want to create something that's a more empowering. It's attention grabbing, not just great, which isn't very specific. We want attention. So starting to look at what words will make people feel the way you want them to, will make them feel excited and empowered so they want to click through and see your content or see your video, makes a huge difference in the results you get. You can have the best content in the world. You can be the best coach in the world. But if nobody knows you exist because you didn't grab their attention, you can't help people. So that's really what it boils down to.
And I'm going to circle back around to the words and blog posts, etc. But I want to back up to the coach that made you almost made you quit your business. And it's interesting. You said the coach that you did hire was still a hard sell. But my automatic thought was the first person was probably coming at it with I'm the only person that can help you, and you better listen to me or else. And she wasn't coming at it with love and with your best interest at heart. Whereas the second person was probably coming towards you with love, like, hey, do you want to grow? How can you grow? This is how I can help you. Because to me, it was like fear-based versus love-based. The first one was like fear. You're never going to succeed unless you work with me. I'm the only person in the world that can help you, and you better hand me over your credit card right now. And whereas the other person was like, you said, a hard sell, but she made you understand the value of what she was offering, and she made you feel important. Would I be correct in this assumption?
Yeah, it's interesting knowing what I know now, because this was more than 10 years ago. Knowing what I know now about sales conversations and sales methodology and all of that, and more of the language, and really the first call that I had, the person was very focused on their system. They're very focused on why it was perfect for everybody, why it would solve all the problems. The second call was focused on, what are your problems right now? What are your challenges in business? How they could support me with it. So it was a completely different viewpoint that they were coming from, focused on their own program or focused on what did I need? And so that alone sets a totally different tone. But then by being supportive versus confrontational during a close, and it depends on who you're selling to. For some audiences, a confrontational approach will work. For me, that's not the way to close me. And part of being really good at sales is being able to read the other person and figure out what do they actually need. Because the second coach was pushy, but she knew that I needed a little bit of a push to be able to say yes. And she did it in a very different way. And it's something that I think sometimes the mistake that's being made is, and this really goes back to something that you and I have had conversations about, following a script and a process and not bringing enough of ourselves into it. Because I suspect what actually happened is the first person I talked to, I know she knew her stuff. She probably would have been a great coach, but I think she was following a script and not allowing herself to deviate from it and going right down in order. These are the questions. These are what I'm saying. This is the appropriate response. I don't think she even felt good about that call. And I haven't had that conversation with her. I suppose at some point I might, but I really doubt that she walked away feeling good. And it goes back to doing business in a way that you can feel good, sleep at night, and enjoy.
And the reason that I mention that, like you said, some people are just naturally confrontational, and we all are going to be attracted to different types of people. And for you to be successful, you need to really be in alignment with your own personal values and beliefs. And if somebody's confrontational and that's just who they are, it works for them. With me, I could never do it because it's just not who I am. I'm too lovey, touchy, feely, right? So everything that I do really comes more out of love. How can I help you? And I really want to help you more, because but I can still tell whenever somebody wants to work with me but has that fear, where I can help guide them to their correct decision, which is what I'm seeing between these two people. And the reason why I wanted to dive a little bit more into that is because there's a lot of people out there looking for a coach. And I always say, I might not be the right coach for you. Hey, it might be Michelle. It might be this first coach that you didn't work with, and it might be the second coach that you worked with. But there is a coach out there for everybody. And it's, regardless if you're looking for a coach or you are a coach, it's really choosing that you only want to work with people that align with you.
Which really does circle back to content marketing and the idea of things like podcasting and blogging. The advantage it has is that when you're showing up in your content as you, like you are very much yourself on your podcast. When somebody gets on a sales call with you, they're getting the same you. When they work with you, they're getting that same you. And they, it's true. I'm not a great fit for everybody. There are some people that, I have filters in place because I know there are certain people that I'm not the right fit. I can't help them like somebody else could. Some people need a confrontational coach. Some people need an even softer approach. And so it really is knowing who you are, showing up that way consistently. Because when people come and discuss working with me, they already know from my videos, from my podcast, from my interviews like this, what they're getting. They can see kind of my worldview, how I approach things. And I take the same opinion that you do. I'm not the right person to work with everyone. For the people who are right for me, I can do an amazing job of helping them get results, but it's got to be a good fit for both of us. And it goes back again to doing marketing the way that works with your personality, to doing your business the way that works. Because when those things are in alignment, that's when you can find the right clients and get them really great results.
Right. Good information. I get back about words. And especially like writing blog posts, so many people think, oh my God, I don't know how to write. It's horrible. And then you come along, wow, you wrote 42 blog posts in one day. So what type of tips and techniques can you give people to easily write blog posts? Maybe not 42 in a day, but get those words out to where they're really engaging with their community.
Yeah. I do not ever recommend writing 42 blog posts in a single day. That is not a 15-minute marketing strategy. However, there are some ways that you can get a blog post done in 15 minutes and it be good content. So there's a couple of approaches that I go over with clients. The first is really keeping in mind what the goal of your content is. If it's to get people into your list, if it's to generate clients, it's to position you as an authority, you're going to approach it a little bit differently. But the fastest way to come up with blog post ideas is to look at what questions clients and potential clients are asking you and just consistently answer them on your blog. So allow other people to generate the ideas for you. Beyond that, remember, you don't have to write your own blog content. You can use content that you've put out other places. So if you've written an ebook, if you've answered somebody in a Facebook post, if you've answered somebody in an email, stop and ask yourself, wait, could this answer be a blog post? Because that can be one of the best places. You've already written it out in Facebook. You just spent 10 or 15 minutes responding to a question. Go publish it on your blog. Or look for other people's content that you can use. That's one that I've done a lot over the years. I go to Pinterest and I look for infographics, or I go to Easy Articles, or I reach out to somebody I know and say, hey, do you want to write a post for my blog? You can get it done in less than 15 minutes if it's somebody else's content and share really valuable stuff. So there's lots of shortcuts like that you can use. And if somebody absolutely hates to write, don't. Do a video, embed a video in your blog post. You don't have to write it yourself. So those are some of the things that'll, in a quick 2-minute response can help you get blogging done faster.
And also you mentioned a lot of blogging mistakes you made. So what are some of the biggest blogging mistakes you see people make and how can they correct them?
Okay. So the biggest mistake I made when I started, there were really, really two huge mistakes. One was I thought I had to sound all professional and write the way an English teacher would have, graded my paper. Mm-hmm. I would write completely properly. You've got your topic sentence, 3 supporting sentences, and then your conclusion sentence. And then each of the following 3 paragraphs supported those sentences from the first one. And then you had the conclusion. It's boring. It was awful. It was hard to read. It was technically correct, but nobody wants to read that online. We're out of school. We don't have to write like that anymore. And I think for me, that was one of the biggest mistakes I made, was not writing in a conversational way and being a little more relaxed with it and just thinking, what's the easiest way for people to understand this and digest this? So I was very, very technical in my writing originally. I didn't tell stories. It was just, here's the facts. Here's why they're the facts. Here's what you need to do.
Right.
That's not how you get people to take action. That's not how you teach them something. So shifting into storytelling a lot more, using illustrations and examples, and making things easy to read. I used to write my blog content at like 12th grade plus level. Nobody wants to have to think that hard when they're reading. You want to write at a 6th grade level max. So really taking out the big words, using shorter sentences, which is hard for me. I will write the longest sentence you've ever seen. So I have to edit myself, but learning to just be more conversational with it. Use bullet points, use lists, break things up. Now, instead of having 5 sentences in a paragraph, most of my paragraphs are 1 sentence long. Some of them aren't even a complete sentence. I do the ... thing a lot, but it makes it easy for people to read and it draws them down the page. So that was mistake number 1, was thinking I needed to write as if an English teacher were going to grade me versus for, a normal person just looking for information or answers to read it. And the second biggest mistake I made.
Before you go to the second one,
sure.
I'm just, because it's interesting you're talking about that structure. It's actually how I sort of teach people to write, but it's more of a conversationalist, because to me it's an easy flow. It's like, first I have my intro, then I have my steps or my tips, then I have my closing. But I don't do it, as a college, a 12th, 13th grade level. So, I do in the lower one more conversational. Yeah. So I think you can incorporate both of those and really still have good blog posts. But a lot of what you said that I was hearing was you was writing technical, you was using all proper English. So more than your style, it was the proper English and the technical, because you were going for that A in college.
So the thing is, it's good to follow a template and to have some organized structure to it. But instead of thinking it like topic paragraph, 3 supporting paragraphs, you think of it like sharing the overall idea, the big picture. That may be 5 separate paragraphs broken up. And then you have a subhead and a couple paragraphs and another subhead. So it's the same template, the same basic layout of information that keeps it structured, because if you're all over the map, people are just going to get confused. So you do need a structure, but you don't want to follow it to the letter to the point that it's boring. So, yeah.
And I just wanted to sort of, I'm like, okay, because people go to my website and they're going to say, hey, how to write a blog post. Tell them to structure it, because to me this was easy for me, this simple template to follow. But making it conversational in less than 6th grade level is really important there.
So there's a lot of ways to take templates. What's that?
Oh, I didn't. Go ahead and tell us about the templates.
Oh, I was just going to say the templates are really a great base for a blog post. Having that structure for it will really help you, especially if you have writer's block or you get stuck on it. And, you mentioned hook, line, dynamic. There's actually a tool there that you can click get ideas and put in your keywords, your audience, and it'll give you like endless ideas of what to write about. You take that and put it into a structure like you're talking about, of big idea, couple of points or couple of tactics and a summary, and you got a really solid blog post. Just don't make it all exactly 5 paragraphs that are exactly 6 sentences long.
Okay. What's your second mistake you was going to share?
Oh, okay. So the second biggest mistake I made, and actually it's an even bigger mistake if people make it today versus 10 years ago when I started blogging, was I thought that I didn't have to promote it anywhere. And what happened when I started blogging, I didn't think I had to promote it. I didn't have to share it. People would just find me. It would magically work. And back in 2010, it actually did work a little bit that way, because you could get into the search engines, get ranked, and people did find me through Google. But as things have shifted, and that wasn't enough is the thing. It's not enough to rely on the search engines for traffic. As things have shifted and there's so many bloggers, so much content out there now, you can't depend on people finding you by chance in the search engines. You have to have an actual plan that every time you hit publish, the 15 next steps of I will share it here, here, and here. I will schedule it here and here. I will send an email. I will email these clients. These are the ways I'm promoting this post, because if you're going to spend your time creating awesome content, it deserves to get seen. And really, less than half your time should be focused on content. Far more of it should be focused on promoting that content and getting it out there. So that's the second biggest mistake I made, was not having a plan for how was I going to get this content in front of the people who need it, who it's helpful for. And that's something that I quickly figured out and put a plan together that's evolved over the years. But I know if I hit publish, I can tell you the exact next 5 things I will do to get traffic to that post so that it can work for me.
Right. And that's it. It's all about systems. It's you have to have a system that works for you
Yes.
in the plan, because a lot of
Mhm.
people think that
Yeah.
it's so easy, or a lot of people still, I believe it's one of the biggest mistakes, think all they need is this perfect
Yeah.
SEO optimized article or post and it's going to be everywhere,
Yeah.
but it's not. And
Yeah. Sadly, it does not work that way. It'd be great if it did.
mhm, mhm. And Michelle, can you share? You sort of shared one earlier. Maybe there's another one. A 15-minute strategy that our listeners can take to grow their business.
Mhm. Okay. So if I had 15 minutes, there's a couple of different things I would do. And I've actually written blog posts of, what can you do in 5 minutes to grow your
Mhm.
business? So the fastest way to grow your business is always personal connection. Despite the internet, despite everything we've got, it's always personal connection. So I would say reaching out to people, whether it's reaching out to check in with someone and have a sales conversation, whether it's reaching out to ask or receive referrals, whether it's reaching out to find out if somebody knows somebody who can work with you, referrals, just reaching out to people, saying thank you for things, giving people testimonials. It's a great way to get people's attention. But just reach out and be in touch with another human being. Find out what you can do for them. And that's going to be, I think, the fastest way to actually grow your business is have that as a daily habit, that you spend time writing thank you notes, sending testimonials, just reaching out and saying, hey, what are you struggling with? How can I support you? And I know that's not the most technical of tips from somebody who does a lot of strategy and tactics, but that's actually the most effective one. Reach out, see if you can get on the phone with somebody and have a conversation.
I love that. It's the relationship building, which to me is, number one in building your business is the relationships.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much for sharing that. And Michelle, I understand that you have a wonderful gift that you would like to share with our community. Can you share a little bit about it?
I do. Okay, sure. So going back to the tactical side of things, I've got a traffic mind map. So if you are looking to get more traffic to your site, more people to find you so you get more of them on your list, get them into working with you so you can really help them, Cindy will put a link somewhere near this video or the audio you're listening to that goes to that. When you tell me where to send it, you'll get access to the traffic mind map instantly, as well as a little video that will help you figure out how do you filter all those ideas so that you're showing up in the right place, that your audience sees you, that you've chosen the right strategy for your brand, for your personality, and for what you're really looking to accomplish with attracting traffic.
Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful gift. So I suggest to everybody you go grab your own traffic mind map. I really like the way that it's set out, where it's easy to follow and it's easy for you to create your own system of what you're going to do after you write your blog post, of how you're going to promote it. So that you want to grab your traffic mind map from Michelle. And do you have any parting words for our listeners?
Parting words. So let's see. If I were to give you one piece of advice, it would be to think about how you can create a flashing neon sign everywhere you go that lets people know you're here, you can help them, you have a solution to their problem. Whatever you're offering, whatever you're selling, somebody right now is praying to find exactly the answer that you have. So it's our job to get out there in front of those people, let them know we exist. So whatever we have to do, whatever we have to learn to be able to write attention-grabbing headlines, to get people's attention with our videos, with our podcasts, when we're speaking to them in person, learn to do that. Learn to get people's attention so that you can share with them the solution that you have so you can help solve their problems and grow your business. So that would be my tip.
Yes, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you as my guest today, Michelle. Thank you. And for our listeners, if you enjoyed Michelle's show, if you want to go grab that traffic mind map, you can go to bizsuccessin15.com/MS for Michelle Shaeffer. So just lowercase ms. And you can rewatch today's show to catch any of Michelle's golden nuggets that you might have missed. You can download your free traffic map and catch up on other episodes that you might have missed. So with that, I hope you all have a great week.
Cool.
Bye-bye. And be sure to see us next week for another great episode of Biz Success in 15. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Biz Success in 15. For all links mentioned in today's show and to watch or listen to previous episodes, visit bizsuccessin15.com. Thanks so much for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for another amazing guest.